Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I am Alderman Michael Scott Jr., the Alderman here in the 24th Ward, and it is always a great day to be here in the 24th Ward, especially today when we have such a great announcement, a great partnership here in the city of Chicago. You know, for me, it is, you know, we had Shameless here. We had Lucius Lyons and Cookie Lyons here. However, the show that I think most identifies with me and the community in which I serve is the Shy. You know, it represents real life stories here in the city of Chicago with a bunch of great actors. Jake, I don't know his real name, but Jake and Papa. Papa happens to be my favorite, just so you know. No offense, but Papa happens to be my favorite. And the show is really near and dear to me, not just for the writing and how real it is to Chicago, but because of their investment here in this community. What you guys don't know, prior to this announcement, every year since the Shy has been here, they have donated over 2,000 book bags to this community. And this just speaks to the great partnership that they have here, the investment they have in the city of Chicago. And so I want to say thank you to you and all that you do here in Chicago. And without further ado, to give you more details on this Budden partnership, I'm going to bring up the greatest mayor in the greatest city of Chicago, my friend Mayor Lori Lightfoot. You don't want my job. You don't want my job. No, that's a demotion. That's a demotion.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for being here. I'd like to recognize the other folks who are here with us today who are really playing an incredibly important part in making this initiative happen. Chicago Film Office Director Kwame Amaku, are you here? Thank you for being here. Green Corps Chicago Director of Programs Monique Ellington. Where's Monique? And we're going to talk about Green Corps in a minute and how important it is. Chicago Public Art Group Executive Director Chantal Healey. SHOWTIME Executive Vice President of Marketing and Strategy Pooja Vorai. Executive Producer of The Shy. I tried to call him the boss, and he told me, no, I'm not the boss. Lena is, but I'm going to call you the boss for this moment. Justin Hillian. Now, as many of you know, one of my highest priorities is bringing impactful investments to our underserved communities, particularly those on the South and the West Side. And when I talk about impactful, I mean those that are going to be building blocks for infrastructure that will leave a lasting impression in a community. Not something that's a one shot and we're gone, but something that really has a catalytic effect, transformative effect, and builds community. And I think the investment that we're going to talk about today is exactly that. These often come in the form of projects that will enhance the vibrancy of our commercial corridors and beautify our neighborhoods, and programs that will provide jobs and opportunities for growth and entrepreneurship for our residents. It's through these kinds of investments that we are able to improve our residents' quality of life and generate catalytic change for our communities. But in order to have them have the longest lasting and most positive impacts, we need the collaboration of public and private philanthropic partners who share our citywide goal of realizing the full potential of our neighborhoods on our South and West sides and the people who call them home. This kind of partnership is not only leveraged through our city's signature Invest Southwest initiative, which enhances the socioeconomic vibrancy of our South and West Side neighborhoods, including North Lawndale, which we're in today, but through announcements like the one I'm so excited to share today. I'm thrilled to be here to announce that SHOWTIME, one of the world's most iconic networks, has granted two of our most impactful city organizations with $500,000, that's half a billion, to support and uplift our South and West Sides, which have served as the key locations for the drama series The Shy for 4 seasons. This grant will specifically support the Green Corps, Chicago Green Job Training Program, a Chicago Department of Transportation initiative that skills up individuals who have barriers to employment and empowers them to positively impact their communities, but also change their lives through service and career opportunities in the environmental fields. The other recipient is the Chicago Public Art Group, a nonprofit organization that brings artists and communities together to produce public art, and has produced hundreds of public art projects with a variety of community stakeholders all across our city throughout its 50-year history. As a result of this support, Green Corps Chicago and the Chicago Public Art Group will be able to clean up and beautify 32 vacant lots, as well as create 6 new art installations right here in North Lawndale, as well as in Bronzeville. By making meaningful and intentional investments that beautify our neighborhoods, we are not only able to improve the appearance and safety of our communities, but also improve our residents' morale and their sense of place. When our residents are surrounded by vibrancy and clean blocks, we know that they will feel empowered to step outside and enjoy their community as any person in any neighborhood in Chicago wants to. This will also attract visitors from other parts of the city to come and spend some time and money there. And that, folks, is how we revitalize socioeconomic engines of entire neighborhoods. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you today. As you know, we've spent a lot of time in the South and West Sides, and we will continue to do so, highlighting not only the rich and vibrant neighborhoods that are here and the people that populate these neighborhoods, but making sure that we remain focused and intentional about making investments. I want to thank Alderman Scott for his leadership and his diligence. I want to thank SHOWTIME for everything that you're doing to support our community. You're welcome anytime. Bring other shows, spend more money, hire more people, create more jobs. I also want to thank the people who are working in the Green Corps. I mentioned again that this is an opportunity to give people who have some challenges and other barriers to getting employment an opportunity to really invest in their community, but also invest in themselves. And I want to give a huge thanks to the Chicago Public Art Group for making our city more beautiful and more vibrant by initiating and maintaining creative collaborations with our communities through art. So thank you very much. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Pooja to the stand.
Thank you so much, Mayor Lightfoot. This is so special for us. Your city, Chicago, has been such a gracious home to our drama series for 4 seasons, and we felt it was essential to find a way to give back to the city. And thanks to the mayor and your office, we were able to pull together this program and really thought about giving back to the neighborhoods where our show is shot, where it is produced, the stories that we tell, the incredible stories that we tell. And so we are so proud to be here. And we do hope that the grant that we've announced today will help revitalize these neighborhoods, as well as the vibrant art scene and the arts community. I do want to again thank the mayor and her office and all of the different organizations that really came together. This was a real labor of love, many, many months and hours of work. I do want to acknowledge our head of marketing, Michael Engelman, who has helped support us as well for this program, as well as the team at SHOWTIME that brought this together. That's it for me, and I want to now introduce Justin Hillian, the executive producer on our show and our showrunner, to talk a little bit more. Thank you so much.
Hey, first, thank you, Pooja. And just want to say, since the first second I set foot in the writer's room for season 1, Lena let us all know that this show was her love letter to the city of Chicago, and that this wasn't a job, it was a privilege, and more importantly, a responsibility. And it's just been really amazing to see what the city has done. I mean, the city of Chicago and its residents have always been the lifeblood of the series, and every season they've welcomed us with open arms. And so it's really a privilege to be able to be here and be here with SHOWTIME as they give this incredibly generous donation, just to really give back to the city the graciousness and the gratitude that they've extended us. And so with that, I would like to introduce Chantal Healey, the Executive Director of the Chicago Public Art Group. That's it for me.
Thank you for that introduction, Kwame Justin. I'm Chantal Healey, the Executive Director of the Chicago Public Art Group, and today we are so proud of our artists, Dorian Sylvain, Damon Lamar Reed, and Delilah Salgado for creating. They have created this rich, vibrant mural entitled Chicago Cool. The city's efforts to revitalize Bronzeville and North Lawndale after years of underinvestment and divestiture is commendable. And it is also in line with the Chicago Public Art Group's mission of amplifying voices of Chicago's community so that they are seen and heard via art. And it's also personal to me, as I was born in Bronzeville. And for over 50 years, my father and brother served the Bronzeville community as physicians at Mercy Hospital. And now, despite 170 years of operation, it has closed its doors. And every day as I drive by that neighborhood, I feel the sting when I notice the name of the hospital stripped from its iconic rooftop. The community not only lost health services during a pandemic, it also experienced the financial loss of jobs and investments in its neighborhood. But today is a new day. Today I'm hopeful. And when I witnessed the collective effort of the Mayor's Invest Southwest and SHOWTIME's initiative to clean up 32 vacant lots and add art, I am inspired. Through this art and within these communities, we can reclaim what was lost and forge new pathways. And here at CPAG, we believe that every community deserves great art, inspirational and historical art, and in essence, beauty. For beauty, great art, clean air, clean lots, and landscapes are not privileges for the few, but for all. And every child in every neighborhood deserves to be proud of where they live, and every child should feel safe to play in their parks. Our mural, Chicago Cool, celebrates what is wonderful about the youth of Chicago, its community of neighborhoods, and the ideas that Chicagoans are building bridges, connecting our neighborhoods for a stronger Chicago. And what does cool mean? Well, per Dorian Sylvain, it means grounded. It means to be unabashedly proud of your identity and culture. The mural sets out to inspire our youth to reclaim one's sense of self-respect and dignity, to reclaim what is great about Chicago, its lakefront, its architecture, its amazing repertoire of food from all of the city's different neighborhoods, the great array of music from blues to gospel to house to drill, to reclaim the unity of Chicago culture while celebrating the diversity of its neighborhoods. And while there is much fatigue in the air as we emerge from this global pandemic and social unrest, art can sustain and heal us through these times. And there is no better way to do it than here in Chicago, the center of art and culture. And these beautification efforts are a step in the right direction and in alignment with the Mayor's vision here today. It is CPAG and our artists' hope that these murals will serve as catalysts of change, not simply in the neighborhoods where they are housed, but in the communities who are represented in the murals. So thank you to the Mayor and the City of Chicago. Thank you, DCASE, Green Corps, and SHOWTIME for partnering with Chicago Public Art Group. And thank you to our artists, Damon Lamar Reed, Delilah Salgado, and Dorian Sylvain, for putting their heart and soul and thought into the creation of this mural, Chicago Cool. Thank you, Mary Rose and the CPAG team, and we look forward to seeing the up-and-coming murals in the remaining lots. And may the impact of these murals reach far and wide. Thank you.
Thank you. I am Monique Ellington, board member of the Green Corps Chicago not-for-profit. Green Corps Chicago is the city's green job training program for individuals with barriers to employment based at CDOT. A couple of years ago, we worked to establish Green Corps non-for-profit to support, strengthen, and extend the reach of the Green Corps program. It's a pleasure to be here today, speaking on behalf of the whole team at CDOT and Green Corps. I'm a former staffer of Green Corps, and it's my honor to serve on the board for the Green Corps nonprofit. Under the leadership of Mayor Lightfoot, it's an exciting time for Green Corps. Green Corps is 27-year-old program, and has become an integral part of the mayor's efforts to focus resources and investment on the areas of the south and west of Chicago that have suffered from underinvestment and disinvestment for far too long. As we are so grateful for the Showtime and SHI for their donation to the program, Green Corps and the CDOT are excited for the opportunity to leverage this donation to expand the impact on the south and west sides of Chicago while providing the essential training and career paths to underserved Chicagoans. With these funds, we're taking neglected spaces and turning them into community assets by clearing debris and trash, planting ground coverings, and installing split rail fences. Our goal is to beautify those vacant lots so that they contribute rather than detract from our neighborhoods, while setting the stage for long-term community renewal through Invest Southwest program. The Green Corps Chicago team is looking forward to rolling up our sleeves and working in those lots with the support from the city and this grant from Showtime. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot, Commissioner Kelly, and the rest of the DK team that's here today. Thanks you, Showtime, and the cast and crew of The Chi. I'm Kwame Amoku. I'm the director of the Chicago Film Office. We're a division of DCASE, Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. We specialize in permitting film all the way from student films to Transformers and everything in between. We also provide support for Chicago's independent film community, and we're hoping to build a creative content infrastructure here in the city of Chicago, as well as provide screenings and other cultural content. We're also working to build the infrastructure here in underserved areas so that we can expand the film production industry here in the city of Chicago. The Film Office continues to strengthen the city's TV and film industry as a key component of the mayor's economic recovery strategy. Filming in 2019 resulted in an economic impact of $560 million. We also have a 51% minority and women crew hiring here in the city of Chicago. That's unprecedented anywhere. We've increased production in 2021 to 125% of pre-pandemic levels. With 16 shows in production right now, the revenue from these productions not only supports local film workers, but also the neighborhoods they showcase, people's homes and businesses as locations. One project alone in one ward resulted in $90,000 for the residents of that ward and the businesses of that ward. The ancillary spend from the film production community is spread throughout all of the economics of the city. So we would like to thank you, Showtime and the SHI, for your generous investment in the city's south and west sides. And it's just another example of how film production can be a positive force for change in underserved communities in the city of Chicago. I was a kid from the projects on the south side of Chicago 25 years ago. One photography class at South Shore High School changed the trajectory of my entire life and placed me in an industry that has fed my family for 25 years. We want to provide that type of help to everybody in the south and the west sides. And we want to thank Showtime and the SHI for being willing partners and helping us to bring this vision to reality. Thank you.
much. We'll start off with Taman. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Lots of
The bearded one.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff percolating. I'll let my colleagues do the New York Times, the FOP. But I wanted to ask about COVID.
Yeah.
In New York, they're requiring city workers to either show that they're vaccinated.
Show that they're vaccinated or to take a weekly test.
Correct.
Yeah.
Are you reconsidering that for the city of Chicago, given the surge in cases?
Well, we're looking at a lot of different options, and obviously we're a unionized town, as is New York. We'll be having those conversations with our partners in organized labor to make sure that everybody's walking on the journey at the same time. But we have to look at a variety of options. We've seen an increase week over week in the last 2 weeks, which is why Dr. Arity and I sounded the alarm last week about the rise in cases, but also the rise in hospitalizations. Really, the Delta variant is, I think, the thing that we're most concerned about, and primarily concerned among people that aren't vaccinated. The numbers are very clear. 97% of the deaths, same number for hospitalizations, are among people that are not vaccinated. That is alarming, concerning, so that's why we rang the bell last week, and we're going to continue to talk about it. We're not in the danger zone, in part because there is a lot of vaccinations that are out there, but I want to make sure that everyone takes advantage of this life-saving vaccine, and no one is put in a position where they're sick and in a hospital on a ventilator and wishing, if I had only gotten vaccinated. There's plenty of free vaccine. We are ramping up our resources to bring them directly to people's houses. So I hope the message gets clear. And let me in particular say this among Black Chicago, which is where we see the lowest levels of uptake, particularly on the South Side. There is more that can and should be done, but we need people to raise their hand and say, I want the vaccine. We'll bring it to your house. We'll come to your place of business. Whatever it takes, we want people to get vaccinated.
And Mayor Lightfoot, Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
As we get closer to the first performers taking stage, are you having any second thoughts?
I'm not having second thoughts, and here's why. One, the Lolla people, I think, have done a tremendous job of really educating what they believe is going to be their core group of folks that are going to be coming to participate about the necessity of getting vaccinated. In order to get into Lolla, you have to do two things. You either have to prove that you're vaccinated, or you have to prove that you have a negative test within 48 hours of entering on whatever day it is that you're planning to go. The other thing I think to keep in mind is it's outside, and that makes a difference. We know now for a year plus that the danger of transmission is less outside than it is inside. And the truth of the matter is we have large-scale events that have been happening at least since June 11th, when we became fully open as a city, and we've been able to do those things successfully. DCASE has put on many of these citywide events, but others have been put on by third parties, private individuals. We haven't seen that uptick. The concern is with the folks that are unvaccinated. The concern is with other parts of the state. If you look at Southern Illinois, you look around East St. Louis, which is obviously proximate to Missouri, those are the areas that we're watching with great interest and frankly concern. But I don't have any hesitation about Lolla, particularly because the organizers have been very focused on public health and public safety.
Mayor, question for my colleague about mask mandates. Are you mask mandates? Are you reconsidering any kind of mask mandate indoors, maybe for people who are vaccinated, just to try to stop the spread of things?
Well, again, we are not in a danger area based upon the metrics that we follow, but I do think it's smart for people to wear masks. When you're in a group, you don't know who's vaccinated or not. We know that the risk to the unvaccinated is extremely high, not only for them getting sick, but also transmitting. So I think everybody's going to make their decisions about what makes the most sense for them. But if we see a surge, anything like we've seen in the past couple cycles, then everything's on the table. But right now I feel confident with the measures that are in place, but everything is subject to change based upon the data and the science.
we were talking to the superintendent this morning just about the violence numbers. Continue to have dozens and dozens of people shot, nearly a dozen people killed. The superintendent doesn't seem to think that they need to do anything differently, pointing the finger over at the courts. Does CPD need to do anything differently on their end?
Well, this is a time for all of us to ask ourselves that question. What more can we be done? What more can we as individuals, as communities, as families, what more can each of us do during this time? We are seeing a downward trend that started in April of this year, month over month, year over year, from 2020 to 2021. We're making progress, but we've already had 89 people killed in the city of Chicago just this month. That's a breathtaking number. It cannot be on CPD alone. We know that the relying 100% on the police with an arrest strategy, we can't arrest our way out of this problem. What we're seeing is the manifestation, literally, of dozens of years, I should say decades and decades of years of neglect. Part of the reason we're excited about the opportunity that this particular investment makes is we're giving people who have had challenges in their life, who had difficulty getting employment, an opportunity to improve their skills, build a resume, if you will, but also contribute back to their community. We have to keep looking for these type of opportunities, but in particular, we've got to reach those young men who are the trigger pullers. We've got to give them a sense of hope and opportunity that their destiny isn't preordained to be a member of a gang, to mine somebody's corner spot, to go to jail, or worse, an early death. The increase in violence across the country is obviously alarming and has attention and focus of every single mayor that I know, me included. I've said this before and I'll repeat it. It is the only issue. All of the great things that are happening across our city, and there are so many every single day in every neighborhood, none of them matter. None of them matter if we don't get a handle on the violence that we're seeing. If people don't feel safe in their home, in their neighborhood, and the ability to come out on a warm and probably, I'd say more accurately, really hot summer day like today. I can't say more about this other than we've got to all dig down deep, each one of us, everyone, and do what we can. We know what the root causes are. We know who the kids are that are at risk. We've got to keep doing everything we can to reach those young people. And for the ones that step over the line, you've heard me say this before as well. I'm channeling my mother. We love them. We want to support them. But when you're wrong, you're wrong. And what we need is people in communities to step up and to talk about the people on their block who they know are causing problems. Step up. You can do it anonymously. Step up, and if you report where guns are and it leads to a seizure or an arrest, we're willing to reward you for taking that leap of faith. But it doesn't work if we're just saying CPD is the problem. We are all part of the solution, and we've all got to step up and own that responsibility.
But are you satisfied that CPD is doing all it can?
As I said, I can't isolate CPD alone, but yes, I believe that the plans and the deployments that they have in place have been effective, but the challenge is we're seeing an unprecedented level of violence here in our city that isn't abated since last year. Again, we're making progress, but the level of brazenness, for example, there was an officer-involved shooting today. There was a traffic stop, and an individual, as I understand it, took out his gun and shot at police who are wearing uniform. We've had almost 40 officers that have been fired upon this year. It is a different time than what we've seen in recent years. I would say you'd have to go back to the 90s to understand the dynamics that are on the ground now. We're far better than we were then, but it is a very challenging time, and it requires all of us, everyone who cares about their home, their neighborhood, their block, their city, to step up and ask, what more can I do to be part of the solution?
Mayor, up next,
and I also can warn you that I have two questions from good old Fran.
Tell Fran to come back.
All right. Anyway, first, my questions. You just talked about Lala, and you said that you need a test 48 hours. Originally, you needed a test 24 hours when it was first announced. On the website, it says you need a negative test 72 hours. So
let me figure out. My understanding as of this morning it was 48 hours. If I've got that wrong, we'll correct it. But the point is, you've got to demonstrate as you come in the gate that you have a negative test within a reasonable period of time, because we don't want people coming in who are unvaccinated, who have not taken the time to get a COVID test and demonstrate that they're negative.
All right, so just to finish
so
my question.
we'll clarify the time.
There are health experts like Dr. Emily Landon who say throwing Lala is a mistake.
I don't agree.
And she also adds that it's all about the money.
Well, God bless Dr. Landon. I don't agree with her. She's said a lot of things over the course of these last 16 months, which I don't agree with. Who I have confidence in is Dr. Allison Arty, our Director of Public Health, who has been working with the folks at Lala for some time now, and particularly over the last few weeks, to understand what their plan is, to make sure that they are abiding by public health guidance and that they've got the latest information and that we're all on the same page about what is needed. If I thought for a moment that shutting down Lala would prevent further spread in the way that we're seeing it, then I wouldn't hesitate to do that. But as I said, it's outdoors. We've been having large-scale events all over the city since June without major problems or issues. The Lala team has been phenomenal. They've hired their own public health experts who've been working hand in glove with us since we started these discussions, really back early in the spring, about whether or not Lala was going to go forward. So God bless the critics standing on the sidelines, but I feel confident that the Lala folks have a good, solid plan in place, and we're going to obviously hold them accountable to make sure that that plan is enforced.
Mayor, some are surprised that you told the New York Times that your re-election is not a gimme.
Yeah, I apparently that's caught a lot of people's attention. Here's what I said in context. You know, when you come into office, you have a vision of where you want to go. And I certainly had that myself. And I still do. But the world and fate has a funny way of leading you in a different direction. 16 months into a global pandemic, a massive economic dislocation, surging violence, it's not a gimme. Now, the truth is that I believe in being prepared. We've raised over $2 million since I took the oath of office. We had in this last year alone, we raised over $500,000. So I believe in being prepared, but it's a conversation that I need to have at the appropriate time with my wife. All the things that are going on in our city, all the challenges that we are facing. And I think that residents have a right to demand my full attention on. My reelection is not a priority for me at this point. It will become something that we talk about as a family later on, but that's not now. So the writer of the tweet in the story has been writing my obituary since I think May 21st, 2019, which is the day after I took office. So, you know, I think the facts speak for themselves.
Could you talk to us from Fran, wanted reaction to the new FOP contract? The president said it has pegged the cost of this retro pay at $600 million. Where will that money come from?
Well, it's on average, because it's an 8-year contract, which accounts for, I think she's going to, I should give her a minute. I think it's an 8-year contract. It accounts for the 4 years that are expired and 4 years into the future. It's an average of about 2% a year. We have, if you check our budget, we've been tucking money away for this little by little every year. And so we feel prepared to manage the expense that will be incurred. And we can give you more details later.
But you're pleased with this new contract?
Well, I am pleased that we finally got it done. It shouldn't have taken this long. I shouldn't have walked into office with a contract that was already 2 years expired. It shouldn't have taken us 2 more years to get it done, because we had an FOP leadership that was literally refusing to get to the table. And I told them over and over again, we're not going to talk about money unless we talk about accountability. And so I'm happy with the progress that we've made on reform and accountability, and I think those are the top line features. We build into the contract some other resources to help support our men and women around health and wellness. but it shouldn't have taken another 2 years. And really, we got it done in a matter of weeks when the president of FOP finally got serious about getting something done. This could have been something that we did a year ago.
And then finally from Fran, can you talk about the concerns, do you have concerns about the way CPS is picking facilities and janitorial vendors in light of the Sunday article in the Sun-Times?
Well, we've had a lot of discussion about that, and I made no secret of the fact that the previous contracts and the lack of accountability, there have been substantive changes that have been made in the contract, one shrinking the size of the contract that was awarded and making sure that there was more hands-on facilities management by CPS in a way that didn't happen before. But as always, the proof is in the pudding. And in my view is, if this new contract, if the vendor doesn't live up to the commitments in the contract, it's my expectation that we will put them on notice and we'll terminate the contract. There is no reason ever that any of our children should be going into a school that is filthy. It should never happen. I expect, particularly in a time of COVID, that our schools are above reproach when it comes to cleanliness. And the schools that I've been in, over and over again over the course of this last 16 months, have really been spotless. Even when students have returned, that's what we want, and frankly, that's what our students and their parents should absolutely have every right to expect. And if the vendor thinks they're going to get a fat contract and not do their job, those days are over. And I'm going to hold CPS accountable to make sure that they are doing what's necessary to hold the vendors accountable. The contract in the first instance is with CPS, but my expectations on this are real clear. Clean schools, live up to your contractual obligations, or get out.
Mayor, last few questions coming from Chair Molina.
Right here.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Hi, Mayor. You've talked quite a bit about COVID and the announcements that have come out of New York City today, with similar announcements coming from the state of California. Any conversations happening with the city and the state on possible requirements, vaccine requirements, mask mandates?
Well, we're looking at this with great interest, obviously. We're in a different situation than California is. I think LA's daily case rate is over 1,000 a day. Ours is still about 137, I think, was our number today. But all of us are concerned about what we're seeing in way too many places across the country. I won't steal Dr. Arwady's thunder tomorrow, but you can expect that there are going to be other states that are added to the travel advisory list. Places that have not taken vaccination seriously. They've sown. Look, they're reaping what they've sown, unfortunately, and people's lives are at risk. This virus is serious. It is deadly. It is still present. And the longer you take to delay getting a vaccine, you run the risk of a further mutation of the virus, which is going to be more difficult. Luckily, the vaccines that have come out with Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson and the other have been effective against the Delta variant, but they're not effective if you don't get vaccinated. And so what we have to do as a country, and I think the president is doing this, is really place a huge amount of emphasis on getting more and more people vaccinated. We know that the virus doesn't respect geographic boundaries. And so we can do everything we can here in Chicago, and we've got more work to be done to be sure. But if we're seeing places that are proximate to us, like Missouri, like Iowa, not take the vaccine distribution seriously enough, it's a worry for us. There's no question about it.